The bizarre legacy of Emperor Norton I. In the colorful tapestry of American history, few figures stand out quite like Emperor Norton. Born Joshua Abraham Norton in 1818 in England, Norton would eventually become one of San Francisco's most beloved and eccentric residents. Declaring himself Emperor of the United States in 1859 and later adding the title Protector of Mexico, Emperor Norton became a local legend, a symbol of whimsy and hope in a rapidly changing city. Despite his unusual self-appointed title, Norton was revered by the people of San Francisco, who embraced his quirks and eccentricities with surprising warmth and affection. His story is a fascinating blend of fantasy, humor, and a uniquely American spirit of individualism. From failed businessman to emperor, Joshua Abraham Norton arrived in San Francisco in 1849 at the height of the California gold rush. Like many others, he sought fortune and success in the booming city. Initially, Norton found some prosperity as a businessman, dealing in real estate and commodities. However, a disastrous investment in Peruvian rice led to his financial ruin, and by 1858, Norton was bankrupt. His once promising business career had crumbled, and he vanished from the public eye for a brief period. When Norton re-emerged, he did so in a way that no one could have predicted. On September 17, 1859, he issued a proclamation in the San Francisco Daily Evening Bulletin, declaring himself Emperor of the United States. In his proclamation, Norton claimed that the nation was in dire need of leadership and that he had been chosen by divine right to assume the role of emperor. While most people would dismiss such a declaration as the ramblings of a madman, the citizens of San Francisco embraced Norton's newfound identity with surprising enthusiasm. What followed was a remarkable transformation. Norton began to appear in public dressed in an elaborate military uniform, complete with epaulettes, a plumed hat, and a sword at his side. He would parade through the streets, inspecting public works, giving advice to city officials, and issuing a series of imperial decrees. Despite his lack of actual political power, Norton's presence became a fixture in San Francisco, and he quickly gained a devoted following. Imperial decrees and visions of a better world. One of the most fascinating aspects of Emperor Norton's legacy is his series of imperial decrees, many of which were published in local newspapers. While some of these proclamations were whimsical or humorous, others revealed a surprisingly forward-thinking and visionary perspective. For example, Norton famously called for the construction of a bridge between San Francisco and Oakland, a proposal that was initially ridiculed but later became a reality with the construction of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge in the 1930s. Norton also advocated for the abolition of political parties, which he saw as divisive and corrupt. He believed that a united government, free from partisan bickering, would better serve the needs of the people. In another decree, he called for the creation of a League of Nations, a concept that would not come to fruition until decades later, after World War I. While many of Norton's decrees were idealistic or utopian, they often reflected a deep concern for social justice and the common good. He railed against the mistreatment of Chinese immigrants, who faced significant discrimination in San Francisco at the time, and he urged the city's residents to treat one another with kindness and respect. His commitment to these causes endeared him to many, and he became a beloved figure in the city's diverse community. A beloved figure in the city by the Bay, Emperor Norton's popularity in San Francisco was nothing short of remarkable. Despite his eccentricities, or perhaps because of them, he was treated with a level of respect and affection that few could have predicted. Local businesses accepted his self-printed currency, which bore his imperial seal, as legal tender. Restaurants provided him with free meals, and he was often given a place to stay at no cost. His presence was so beloved that police officers were instructed to salute him when they encountered him on the streets. One particularly charming story involves Norton's role in preventing a riot. In 1869, tensions between anti-Chinese protesters and Chinese immigrants threatened to erupt into violence. Norton placed himself between the two groups and, according to legend, recited the Lord's Prayer until the crowd dispersed peacefully. Whether or not this account is entirely accurate, it speaks to the respect that Norton commanded and the symbolic power he held in the city. Norton's eccentricities also extended to his personal life. He was known to have a beloved pair of dogs, Bummer and Lazarus, who were themselves local celebrities. The dogs were often seen accompanying Norton on his daily rounds, and their antics were frequently chronicled in the city's newspapers. When Bummer and Lazarus passed away, their obituaries were given nearly as much attention as those of prominent human citizens. The Emperor's final days and enduring legacy. On January 8, 1880, Emperor Norton collapsed on a street corner in San Francisco and passed away. His death was met with widespread mourning, and the city came together to give him a grand funeral. It is estimated that around 30,000 people attended his funeral procession, a testament to the deep affection and respect he had earned over the years. Newspapers across the country reported on his death, and his story became part of American folklore. In the years since his death, Emperor Norton has remained a beloved figure in San Francisco's history. His story is a reminder of the city's openness to eccentricity, creativity, and individuality. Norton's legacy is celebrated in various ways, from plaques and statues to annual reenactments of his proclamations. His life has inspired books, plays, and even comic books, and he continues to be a symbol of the quirky, independent spirit that defines San Francisco. Norton's vision of a better world, free from political strife and full of compassion, continues to resonate with those who hear his story. While he may have been an emperor only in title, his influence on the city and its people was real and lasting. In a world that often values power and wealth, Emperor Norton stands as a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful legacies are those built on kindness, imagination, and a little bit of eccentricity. Conclusion: the bizarre and enchanting legacy of Emperor Norton is a testament to the power of imagination, resilience, and the unique character of San Francisco. Though his reign as Emperor of the United States was entirely self-proclaimed, it was his genuine care for his city, his whimsical decrees, and his unshakable belief in a better world that endeared him to so many. Emperor Norton remains a symbol of the spirit of individuality and eccentricity that defines not just San Francisco, but the broader American experience. His story reminds us that sometimes the most profound legacies are not born of wealth or power, but of kindness, creativity, and the ability to inspire others through the sheer force of personality.